Ohenewaa.Speaks, Sunday Devotional. The room we keep hidden. You know that feeling when you've been running so long that you've almost forgotten what you're running from? You are functioning. You are showing up. You do everything you are supposed to do. However, from the outside, everything looks held together. But somewhere inside, in a place you have learned not to visit, there is a door. And you haven't opened it in a long time. Maybe you know exactly what's behind it. Maybe you've made your peace without knowing. Either way, you've learned to live around it, to rearrange the furniture of your daily life so the door stays out of sight. You place church attendance before busyness. Other people need anything in front of them to avoid standing still long enough to face it. And the worst part, you have believed that this is what spiritual maturity looks like, that a grown woman of faith doesn't have locked rooms, that if you still have one, something is wrong with you. Today, we need to talk about that. The room is unique to everyone. For some of you, the room holds grief, not the grief you process publicly as people held your hand, but the grief that came afterward when everyone went home, leaving you alone with the full weight of the loss. The grief you told yourself you were over because it had been long enough. The grief that still catches you off guard at a song, a smell, a season. For some of you, the room holds anger. Anger at someone who hurt you and never apologized. Resentment toward an injustice that continues to exist. Anger you've spiritualized into silence because you were told that a woman of faith shouldn't still be angry. So you buried it and called the burial healing. For some of you, the room holds your disappointment with God, the prayer that went unanswered. What you believed the promise would be and what it turned out to be are different. The season that broke something in your faith left you performing faith ever since because you don't know what to do with a God you're not sure you trust anymore. For some of you, this is the one nobody names out loud. The room holds the version of yourself you are most ashamed of, the choices you made, the person you were, and the thing you did you cannot seem to forgive yourself for, no matter how many times you've asked God to forgive you. The contents are different, but the locked door is the same. And what keeps it locked is not that the thing inside is too terrible for God to manage. What keeps it locked is that you're not sure you can manage how it will feel to finally open it. The difference between hiding and healing. Here is something I need you to understand. God distinguishes between a healed person and someone who hides. Church attendance does not fool him, and quoting scripture over a wound does not move him if you have not truly let him touch you. The spiritual language you use to shield yourself from the truth of what you are carrying does not impress him, and he is not waiting for you to arrive whole. He is honestly waiting for you to arrive. There is a difference between those two things that the enemy has worked very hard to collapse, because if he can convince you that coming to God with a locked room is evidence of spiritual failure rather than the beginning of spiritual courage, he can keep you performing faith indefinitely while never actually being transformed by it. Think about King David, a man described as a man after God's own heart, not because he had no locked rooms, but because he kept bringing them to God anyway. He didn't write psalms of perfect peace. He wrote psalms of desperate honesty, psalms where he admitted he was afraid, angry, abandoned, undone. And in one of the most searching prayers in all of Scripture, he didn't ask God to fix everyone else. He didn't ask God to change his circumstances. He opened the door himself and prayed, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Psalm 139 to 23:24. Search me, not them, not the situation, not the person who hurt me, but me. Search for me. Shame is not a part of that prayer. That is not self-condemnation. That is the prayer of a person who has decided that God's access to their interior life matters more than their own comfort. What stands at the door looks like that. I want to be honest with you about something. Most of us do not open the door because we have learned to ignore it. It's because we're afraid of what opening it will cost us. If I open the grief, I have to feel it again. If I open the anger, I have to decide what to do with it. If I open the disappointment with God, I have to be honest about the fact that my faith is not as settled as I've been presenting it if I open the shame. I have to look at the person I've been hiding from, including from myself. These are genuine costs. I won't pretend they aren't. But here is what I need you to hear. The cost of opening the door is real, but the cost of keeping it locked is your life. Every year you spend managing a locked room is a year you spend building your life around the avoidance of it. It shapes your relationship. It limits your capacity for joy. Your connection to God is mediated by the performance of someone who has everything together rather than by the honest presence of someone who is still being made whole. And God does not want your performance. He wants you, the real one, the one behind the door. What I need you to hear today. I know how your mind works when we get this close to the door. Let me meet you where you are. I've had this too long. It's too late to deal with it now. There is no expiration date on God's willingness to meet you in your honest places. The room has been locked for years, which does not mean it cannot be opened. It is evidence of how much you have been carrying alone. And God's response to that is not disappointment. It has come. If I open this, I'll fall apart. And I cannot afford to fall apart. The falling apart you are afraid of has already been happening quietly behind the door for as long as you've kept it locked. What you're protecting is not your stability. It is your avoidance. And avoidance is not the same as strength. Bringing something into light with God present is not falling apart. It is the first step toward being put back together by the only one who knows how. I've prayed about this. Why hasn't God fixed it yet? There is a difference between praying about something and bringing it to God. Praying about something can still be done from a distance with the door closed, asking God to deal with what's on the other side without you having to go near it. What God is often waiting for is not a better prayer. He is waiting for you to stop managing the room from the outside and invite him inside it with you. I'm not ready. You don't have to open the door today. Readiness is not the requirement. Willingness is. There is a difference between not being ready and not being willing, and only you know which one is true right now. If today you can only stand in front of the door and admit to God that it exists, that is enough. That is the beginning. God does not require you to arrive at the threshold fully prepared. He asks only that you stop pretending the threshold isn't there. What waits behind the door? I want to tell you what the enemy has kept from you. He has convinced you that the room is full of things that will destroy you if you see them clearly. That grief will swallow you, the anger will consume you, and the shame will confirm every terrible thing you have ever believed in yourself. That the disappointment with God, if fully admitted, will leave you with nothing, but here is what is waiting behind the door. God is already in the room. He had been there all along. You locked the door, but he never left. He stayed with the grief, the anger, the shame, the unanswered prayers, and the broken expectations waiting, not with condemnation, but with the patient love of a father who knows his child, will come when she is ready. The light you've been seeing under the door, that is him. Spiritual growth is not the absence of locked rooms. It is the ongoing, sometimes frightening, yet grace-filled process of opening them one by one, season by season, with God present in all that is revealed. You are not behind. You are not beyond healing, and you are not disqualified from wholeness because some rooms remain unopened. You are exactly where the grace of God meets a willing heart. And that is enough to begin. This week, take these steps. 1, name the room, not to anyone else, just to yourself and to God. Say aloud or write down, there is something I have been avoiding. I know what it is. Honesty, even if it goes no further today, is the beginning. 2, pray the David prayer this week, not a polished prayer. Search me, God. I'm giving you access to the parts I've been managing on my own. Mean it. That is enough. 3, identify the lie your locked room has been telling you about God and write it down. Then write beside it what you know to be true from Scripture, even if you don't fully feel it yet. Faith that moves toward truth in the absence of feeling is not fake. It is mature faith. 4, stop moving the furniture in front of the door this week. You do not have to open it yet, but stop adding it to the barricade. Leave the door accessible. Let God work on your willingness from the outside while he tends what is inside. Pray with me. Father, you already know the rooms I have kept from you and have noticed the doors I've locked and the furniture I've placed before them. You know what's inside better than I do. Today, Lord, I am not coming to you with everything resolved. My honesty is genuine, and I ask for the courage that such honesty entails. God, please examine my heart. Not only the information I've freely given you, but also the details I've been handling myself. My grief is something I'm still working through. The anger I have suppressed. The disappointment I could not express. I've felt responsible for this shame as if it would never end. I am grateful that your discipline is not a rejection and that your examination of me isn't for condemnation. I need your healing touch. Please lead me to the door slowly. Don't forget to remind me, once I've reached that place, that you'll be on the other side through the name of Jesus. So be it. Reflection. Question. What has the locked room in your life been costing you? And what has it been telling you about who God is? You don't have to share the room. Just share what keeping it locked has taken from you. Leave it in the comments and let's stand at the door together. The room you have been avoiding is not your sentence. God is not standing at the door of your heart, knocking to expose you. He is knocking because he has never been content to remain outside. If something in today's devotional named what you've been carrying, you don't have to carry it alone. People still in the middle of their story built this community. Subscribe and come back every week. There's more space here for you. And the question he is asking today, gently, without pressure or a deadline, is simply this. Will you allow me to carry your burden in grace and in witnessing? Ohenewaa speaks.